watching Numbskull News, and today I'm going to throw out a hypothetical. What if I've been wrong in a lot of realignment crap? What if the Big Ten go to 24 teams and the SEC goes to 24 teams? What does that look like? Now, why would they go to 24 teams? Well, let's say they both take on private capital partners. The Big Ten are looking at some. The SEC's talking to somebody. I think it's like whatever it is, Goldman Sachs or whatever. And let's say those private capital partners invest and they say, hey, we want you to expand to 24. It's more prowess, blah, 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 right? With the Big Ten, it's about markets. It's about education. And then with the SEC, it's about athletics, football, basketball, those kind of things. And this is what the private capital partners want. And they get the media partners to go along for the ride. So let's just take a look. What do they expand with? Who's going where? Let's take a look. In my scenario, the Big Ten does not go to 24 unless it's with Notre Dame. Period, end of story. So I'm including Notre Dame. So if there are any Notre Dame fans out there, I'm not trying to kick you in the nuts. This is just a world where Notre Dame's tired of scheduling. And they're like, well, you know what? Just the hell with over 100 years of independence and all this rich tradition. We're just going to go to the Big Ten. And we're going to take Miami with us. And then in this theoretical scenario, and something I don't believe in at all, we're just having some fun here. But in this scenario, this will kick off the nuclear arms race between the Big Ten and the SEC. Both of them have mandates from their private capital partners to get to 24 teams. So the first volley has been shot by the Big Ten, Notre Dame, and then they quickly snatch up Miami to go right along with them. And in this scenario, Notre Dame has a little wish list. They said, okay, we're going to join the Big Ten, but we want Miami and we want two other teams. They want Stanford and Cal. Holy crap, Calford gets to go to the Big Ten on a, kind of a Oregon and Washington type of deal. I know it seems unlikely, and I don't believe in this at all. But there is some credence to where Notre Dame would have some pull. And they can get some things their way. And of everybody in the ACC, it seems to me Notre Dame, like these are their three biggest buddies. So as this is happening, as it's just gone down in a big wave, 4 volleys. And the Big Ten have now got 4 California schools. Now they got Northern California in the Bay Area. 2 monster academic brands in Stanford and Cal. Now the SEC, they are scrambling. And who are they calling first? Of course, they're calling Florida State. They're calling Clemson first, the 2 big brands. They're like, holy crap, we got to defend our area. Miami's already gone, but it is Miami. The city of Miami, not exactly SEC territory, even though it's in the footprint. We can let them go. But we cannot lose Florida State and Clemson, and they are hot and heavy after both of them. And by the way, at the same time, the Big Ten are on the horn with Florida State and Clemson. However, it doesn't take long before Clemson accepts the invite to the SEC. The ease of travel is just too much. There's too much going on. It's a perfect fit for them. They're gone. However, FSU is mulling over both offers, full shares. They're like, holy crap. But while they are mulling it over, the SEC have already went past that amount because they got a lot of teams they got to add. They got 8 teams they got to add. The Big Ten only needs 6, and they already got 4 of them. And the Big Ten, even though the presidents, the ADs, whatever, they may not be all that hot with Florida State or Clemson, but the media partners are really pushing hard. And with the additions of Notre Dame, Miami, Stanford, and Cal, They are absolutely drunk on we've just won the whole world here in Big Ten land academically with the markets. Holy shit, we finally got Notre Dame, right? So, okay, if we got to take Clemson, we'll take Clemson. Oh, too late. They decided to go to the SEC. So now they're like, okay, full share. We're cool with FSU. We'll take FSU. What a great win. And we'll try to push them into the AAU as fast as we can. But while they are doing all that, to my utter and complete disbelief, UNC gets let into the SEC. Their board of governors sees the writing on the wall for the ACC. They've already lost Notre Dame and Miami. Clemson already took off. It's only a matter of time before Florida State is also gone. So they're not living in la la land. Let's save the ACC. They already know the damn thing is now dead. Everything's going to be gone. So we got to save what we can save. They try to get NC State to go with UNC, but the SEC, especially ESPN, isn't really too fond of that plan. They got other ideas, and that's when the next big shoe drops. Holy shit, Florida State picks the SEC, even though a good chunk of their fan base wants the Big Ten. They want nothing to do with ESPN. But the Florida State people in leadership, presidents, chancellors, AD, head coach, everybody, and the coaches of all of their sports know the travel is just too easy. Hell, they could walk to some of these games. So it's the SEC for them. Full ride. And just mere moments after the FSU decision is made, it gets announced Kansas has accepted an invitation, and everyone in Big 12 land's going, what the F? What the F, Kansas? What are you doing? Well, they would be stupid to turn down a half share in the SEC if they can get in, and they're not going to turn it down. And with ESPN, they're like, hey, we got a blue blood in UNC. Let's get another one in Kansas. And it's the biggest school in Kansas. So the SEC just slightly, a little bit, expands their territory another notch. Big Ten, they've been working on their backup plans. What the hell is their backup plan to Florida State and to Clemson? And lo and behold, it's Georgia Tech. Let's get into Atlanta. The market's there. Their viewership is going up and up. Now, we know Georgia is basically owned, or Atlanta, well, the whole damn state is owned by the Bulldogs. But Georgia Tech has been making inroads. They're a fantastic academic school in a big-time market in Atlanta. That spells success for the Big Ten. It's part of the mission statement of their private capital partners. So they get added. And now the Big Ten only needs one more. They scour through what's left of the ACC. And then they go and look out west to the Big 12. Utah looks nice, but let's be honest. The market, Arizona State, way better market, but they can't pull the ratings of a Utah. BYU, it's interesting, but completely off the table for the Big Ten. Let's keep it real. No, there's only one choice for the Big Ten at this point. It'll be Colorado. It's a nice way station to the West Coast, and for the West Coast teams back across the country, they are the team in Colorado, Denver, Boulder, that whole area. Great market, Big Ten market. That's what they want. A nice market with a nice team that gets good viewership. They check all the boxes more so than anybody else left in this realignment melee. Even without Deion Sanders, when he leaves, he will have rebuilt the Buffaloes into a viable program. And people will continue to watch. Maybe not on 3 million viewers per week on average type of viewership, but it's going to be nice. Way better than it was in the pack, I'll tell you that. And now, the Big Ten, completely done. They needed 6 schools. In this scenario, they got them. They got the big fish in Notre Dame. They got the second big fish they could possibly get in Miami. They failed on a few others. But Cal and Stanford, academically in the market, it just smells good to them. They love that shit. Georgia Tech, that works for them. The Buffaloes. It's a nice haul for the Big Ten. Can the SEC do anything more to match it? They got 2 blue bloods in basketball, and Florida State and Clemson, which you can argue whether they're blue bloods or not, but there's no doubt they get blue blood ratings, and they got championships, they got pedigree, they got large fan bases, everything the SEC loves. So what does the SEC do now? Because they're only halfway to their goal. They needed 8 teams. They need 4 more. Where in the hell are they going next? And once again, another kick to the junk to the Big 12. They lose their 3rd team, their second to the SEC. It will be the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Does the SEC need to double dip into Oklahoma? No. Is Stillwater some great market? Not really. But the SEC isn't really concerned about it. They need a school that is traditionally very, very salty in their athletic endeavors and can draw an audience. Oklahoma State checks those boxes. You get Bedlam back in their conference, which isn't the biggest rivalry, I understand, but it's always drawn a pretty damn nice rating, and ESPN will be glad to have it. This is the biggest thing remaining for the SEC, so they will take it. The 5th school is Oklahoma State, son of a bitch, you traitors. And the 6th school for the SEC in this scenario is Louisville. I've been talking Louisville to the Big 12 forever, but with a 24-team league that the SEC must build, they cannot be denied. They can't be overlooked. They are not a blue blood in either one of the sports they play, but they are very relevant in basketball, very relevant in football. They compete hard in both. A nice market in Louisville. I know it's double dipping in Kentucky. So be it. As far as what the SEC is looking for, at this point, Louisville checks the box. And with only 2 spots left, the SEC decides to take Duke and add their 3rd blue blood basketball school. Now, they ain't going to get a whole lot about in football. You're definitely not getting a ton of viewership there. But the SEC figures we could work on that. But as far as right now we have the biggest basketball rivalry in all of college basketball. And then we can pair that off with Kansas, with Kentucky. Hell, Alabama's kicking ass these days. This is looking like a top-notch, maybe even the best basketball conference in the country long term, not just for a handful of years, but for long term. And the SEC's media partner, ESPN, is just fine with that shit. Now, the SEC has 1 more slot. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be another Texas school? Is it going to be Baylor? Could it be Houston? Could it be TCU? Getting into DFW? I'm here to tell you, folks, they're not interested in Lubbock. Texas Tech would be a great ad. I'm not saying it wouldn't. Hell, TCU would be a great ad, but they're not concerned about that. They get plenty of ratings out of DFW from Texas A&M, University of Texas, and the Sooners. They don't need Lubbock. They don't need TCU. They don't need another Texas school. They're good. Now, if you notice, there's a lot of Arizona State fans There's a lot of Utah fans out there that have been, frankly, they've been talking shit. And people within the schools have been talking some shit. The SEC's not going west of Norman. They're not going west of Austin. That's as far west as they are going. The Big Ten, sorry, they chose Colorado. They chose the biggest market out of the group. Now, you can argue with Phoenix, Tucson, that that's a bigger market. I get you. But when you're talking prestigious, well, I'm just trying to tell you, they're not the Colorado Buffaloes. They don't share that state. Who do they share it with? Colorado State Air Force? Not really. They own the whole state. Arizona State, they kind of share it with the Arizona Wildcats, who are a much bigger deal in basketball than Arizona State is in football. Albeit great year for 1 year. But they've always been next year's team. The Big Ten, they want something that's solid. Colorado, once upon a time in the 90s, was a huge deal. Under Dion, they're brought back. They're a huge deal again. This will get them over the edge. So what does that mean? That means Arizona State's and Utah's dream of getting to one of the big two is dashed. It's gone. It's not going to happen for them. So here we are, people. The SEC has 3 options. They can go ahead and double dip into North Carolina again with NC State, which out of the 3, football-wise, is the best play. But their big media partner is ESPN. It will continue to be ESPN for a long time. ESPN eventually will go straight to consumer, meaning they will be a streaming company. And it will be a monster streaming company, which means they need subscribers and they need money from their advertisers. So markets will matter, not like they used to, but they will matter. The problem for NC State is you already have UNC. And I know NC State has better football ratings than UNC. But that was a SEC president's pick. And they're not going to pick NC State. So then there was 2. Everybody online is going to tell me, oh, this is easy. This is Virginia. How is that easy? I know you said, Numbskull, you're talking market. And look, I'm not an expert on the markets of Virginia. But from everything that I've heard, the Cavaliers are in a more population-rich area, right? Virginia Tech, not so much. The problem is, in that state, the most athletically relevant college is Virginia Tech. They get way better ratings than the Cavaliers do. The Cavaliers haven't done shit athletically, at least not in the 2 big revenue generating sports, in a long time. I know Virginia, I know the Cavaliers can step up in basketball and do big things. Virginia Tech, they're not that bad in basketball. They've been good. And they've been one of the best football programs for a good stretch. Now, that's been a while ago. But they've at least gotten there. And for that, I should say because of that, they'll be the last pick of the SEC. And the Big 12 fans will be like, no, not Virginia Tech too, you son of a bitches. But in this scenario, Big 10 goes to 24, SEC goes to 24. This is the kind of shit that they're going to have to do. These are the kind of ads they're going to have to make. This is why I don't believe either conference will ever go to 24 freaking teams. But I still decided to have a little fun with it. Now, this is just going to be a part 1. Part 2 is going to be, what does the Big 12 do? Because at this point, Let's see, the ACC will be down to 6 schools. The Big 12 down to 13. They'll need to get back up, not just to 16, but their capital partners will also want them to be at 24. So they got to add 11 schools after this disaster, and that'll be the entire crux of the part 2 to this. But thanks for watching this crap. Hope you enjoyed it. Seeing a whole video of crap that'll never happen. But I hope you took some kind of entertainment value out of it. Anyway, thanks for watching this crap, and I'll be back with some more crap later. Bye.